Well, even several years ago, people that come out of pharmacy school, their loan is about 250, $275,000 out of school. So you're paying 2,500 to pay back your loan, right?
Jeez.
Where do you, I mean, how can you afford a car payment, a rental, or buy a house? You can't do anything. You have to move back with your parents.
It's enough to make you sick.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really bad. It's really, really bad. Yeah.
How did it get like this? How did
I
it
know.
get like this?
I mean, when I went to school, fortunately, I was able to work through school and offset some of the costs, but I did work a lot. It's not like I didn't, and
Hmm.
it was a different time, but now it's impossible to keep up. You can't work enough to offset that cost of school at
And
all.
the way that the loans are structured, you can't ever pay it back, it seems like,
It
because of
feels
the way the interest rate accrues.
mm-hmm.
It accrues on a daily basis.
Right.
And if you pay the minimum payment, you have to pay at least three times the minimum payment in order to start getting it down
Right.
to make any progress.
Yeah. But if you do that, you cannot eat, you cannot drive a car, and you have to live on the street or live in the parking lot in your car to go to
If
work
you're
every day.
if you're subsidized by the government, that you can declare bankruptcy,
Hmm.
but you still have the obligation to pay off the student loan.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, this is why like
Terrible.
people battle about this, should they pay off student loans, right? It's not as if they're paying 100% of it or, they're paying off part of it. They look to see who's been paying, for a few years and that they haven't defaulted and things like that. And I think people today need that boost. I understand, yeah, I worked through school. Yes, I understand that. But
Mhm.
people are not going to get anywhere at the way things are right now. They're just going to be stuck. It's not going to stimulate any economy, nothing, and the wrong people are just going to make money. Like, the banks are just going to
Mhm.
make money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why I'm like, I'm fine with, paying off people's loans. I mean, I know it's not 100% of it. It's just it's some help.
But there are a lot of people,
There's a lot
and
of people.
there's a lot of people that couldn't finish for one reason or
Mm-hmm.
another, but then there's some degrees
Yeah.
that like, is that really gonna impact your life in a way that you will make money?
Mm-hmm.
Because the point of a degree is for you to be hired to make
Yeah.
money and not some a frivolity.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
some of these degrees out there are frivolous
They
degrees.
are.
Those I don't think should be those should be elective degrees
Oh.
that is up to that person to pay
Mm-hmm.
back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I mean, for
Uh,
my friend, she only had 10,000 left on her loan, so they took care of that, which was good. I mean, that helps. I mean, I know what you're saying. That's true. You know, um,
yeah. I mean, there's some degrees it's like, really, do you think you're going to get a job with that degree
you never
doing
know.
that?
You never
Or
know.
no, I know you won't. You won't. We all know the ones that we're talking about, you
Mhm.
know. It's like, yeah, okay, a doctor, a lawyer, the top three, yeah, you got to have a degree for that.
Mhm.
We understand that. Computers, it's helpful to have a degree um, to have that, but a lot of companies are hiring without degree.
Mhm.
If you have a certification and
Mhm.
you know your way around, that's good enough. But there's some that are occupational degrees, and some of them are just for research or
Well,
whatever, that
research
kind of
is
thing.
important too.
And that is important, but it depends on what you're researching too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like pharmaceuticals, biologicals,
That's important,
important.
and that is important. That you need a degree, and you need a
Mhm.
degree in chemistry. I mean, you
Mhm.
need to be experts at that stuff.
Mhm.
That's understandable, but I'm talking about I hope you're not recording this.
Oh, it's recording. I can turn it off.
Well, okay,
You want me
we'll
to turn it off?
see.
Oh,
A
oh.
music degree, a music degree. Unless you're going to be teaching,
Mhm.
what do you need a music degree in?
Well, there could be teaching.
But how many teachers are there compared to musicians?
Some people don't
The
even need a
ratio.
music teacher to teach to play music.
No, no. I mean, if you know how to play piano and you want to teach piano,
Mhm.
you like put an ad and on Facebook, it's like I teach piano, and then if you know how to play the piano, you don't need a music degree to
Mm.
teach a person to play piano. I don't think. You know, okay, hear me out.
I'm
There,
listening.
there's certain there are certain that don't require a degree, especially degrees that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm. Hmm. Yeah.
And another thing is you don't have to go to the college that you would love to go if you can get the same degree at a cheaper
Yeah, like
college to
a
get your
community
state
college. Yeah. Hmm.
or your state college where you're paying in-state tuition. I mean,
Yeah.
there's certain things certain that you need to be smart about.
Yep.
The degree from you know what UCLA and law is probably as good as the one in Harvard. You're still going to get a job as a
Hmm.
lawyer
Hmm.
or as a doctor or in business or whatever. Somebody, can say, well, there's the connections. And I'm like, that's a small club. That's a small club. You still have to pay Harvard, and
Yeah.
Harvard
Is
hecka expensive,
yeah, I know.
you know,
Is
unless
this
you get a full ride scholarship.
hmm
That's that you gotta think smart about that sort of thing. Not everybody can get into Harvard,
right? You have to kind of think forward, I guess. You know, yeah.
but to get an arts degree from Harvard, or can you get an arts degree from UCLA?
I think that if people can afford
It just
that arts degree at Harvard, they probably don't have any issues,
bingo,
afterwards.
bingo. If they can afford it and pay for it
Hmm.
themselves,
Yeah.
yes.
Hmm.
Otherwise, I have a problem with paying it because I had to pay mine. You had to
Hmm.
pay yours.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's hard, and we know what we got into.
Hmm.
In fact, when I got my degree, I was older.
Mm.
I wasn't out of high school into I waited. I waited a good
Yeah.
while.
So the Marines didn't help with the tuition at all?
They had a different program than they do now. They
Mm.
have the GI Bill now, and they had the GI Bill then. But during the time that I was in was a really quirky time,
Mm.
and they had oh, I forget what it's called, but it was paid differently, paid out differently. And I didn't see myself at that time going to college at all. So I cashed it out and spent it,
Oh, I
you
see.
know. So then when I decided to go to college and get my degree, it wasn't enough anyway to make a dent.
Hmm.
It probably would have paid for a class, maybe
Hmm.
two classes. So I got a loan, but I paid it off,
Hmm. Yeah.
and I was so glad that I did, but I had to take a side gig to be able to pay it down because it was I was paying for 10 years and it had not made a dent.
Yeah, some people 20
That's my
years,
problem.
they're still paying it. Yeah. Hmm.
Mhm. And it's the way that it's structured, and
Hmm.
that's the problem
Yeah.
that I have with it, the structure of that loan.
Mm.
It's not structured like a mortgage is
It's
or
not
a car
user
payment
friendly at
is,
all.
like it's worked in there. It's kind of like accumulates
Hmm.
differently. It accrues differently, and
Yeah.
to where it's like you can never. It's like, okay, I owe $150,000, and it's been 10 years now, and now my balance is $149,885. It's like I've only paid $200
It's
out of
really
this loan for the
bad.
last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm never going to get this paid off
Yeah.
in this lifetime. Maybe my grandchildren might be able to liquidate it down the line, but it's like not at this rate.
Hmm.
So, yeah, that's a big problem. That is
Agreed.
a big problem. But yeah, there's some. to where it's like, look, if you're getting in a profession that point of that profession is to make a career and to support yourself, support a family in your future, that kind of stuff, get ahead in life. That's one thing. But if you're doing it just because it's like, oh, I'm just interested in this and blah blah blah, and then, and then you expect the taxpayer to help you pay it off, I'm not for that.
Mm.
I'm not for that. That was a frivolity. Yeah. But sometimes you can't talk people into things, you know.
It
Then they
has to make
realize, well, like, I
sense.
can't understand why I can't find a job. I was like, who's hiring for that? How dare these universities even offer that as an
Right? It's a
option?
scam. There was a saying,
So
work.
I'm not mad necessarily at the students, but also at the
Oh
colleges
yeah,
for being like used
it's a
car
racket.
salesmen.
Oh yeah, it's a
It is
racket.
a racket. Yeah.
There's this saying, what is it? Go to school for the field that you enjoy, and you'll never work a day in your life because they're not hiring in that field.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's
Right?
bullshit. Another thing, it's like you work in something that you love, you'll never work a day in your life, and I'm like, you'll be hating it
Mm-hmm.
because now it's no longer, make it your hobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Make it the thing you do for fun, because once you do it for a living, it's no longer fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you start to resent it, and then you've learned nothing else
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
tangible.
Yeah.
It's like reserve, music, you're a music lover, you're in choir, you're a fantastic singer, you want to aspire. College degree is not going to help you. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean you're talented.
Once it gets hard, then it's not fun anymore.
No, once it becomes work and people have demands on you to
Mm-hmm.
produce, then it's like it's not fun anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to do it for the fun of it. If
Mm-hmm.
you're doing art, take a few classes, to immerse yourself because you're in it, but don't get in a degree to expect to get hired.
Mm-hmm.
And that you might get lucky, but think of all the people that have those degrees.
Mm-hmm. There's
Are
so
they
many,
are
all
they
the
working are
competition.
they working in that industry? No. No. It shouldn't be offered as a degree.
Yeah, like Asian parents, they make us kids do a degree that's recession proof.
Exactly.
There's no other choice. You have no other choice. No art, no music, it's just got to be something recession proof.
Something recession proof, something everybody needs no matter what,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And that's the road to success.
Yeah.
Although I don't know how anybody who's not into medicine can study medicine. I mean, you have to have an interest in that,
Yeah. And a
you know,
strong stomach.
and a strong stomach. Yeah. So I'm like, my mom was like, why didn't you become a doctor? And I'm like,
It's so easy to say, right? It's so easy to say, but it's just so difficult. And only
it's
certain people
difficult.
can do it because you have to almost have a photographic memory,
And thank
basically.
God for those people.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God that they've chosen that path. And thank God that in some cases the path was chosen for them by mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and they're doing that. But like I said, it has to be training for your job. I mean, you can get educated along the way, but don't get a degree in something useless. I mean,
Basket weaving.
in basket weaving or, what, something that's frivolous. That it's like,
Yeah.
where are you going to use that? Unless you're going to be a professor in that, you're going to have to travel everywhere in the country to find a job opening if you're lucky
Yeah.
in the university or something. And it's not going to pay a lot.
That's right. True.
Most of the time, they don't pay much. And now you got a fortune to pay back plus interest.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you want to be a singer, if you want to be a musician, find a group of guys and gals and form a little band and do open mic night. Join a choir at
Yeah, but don't
at
go to
a
college for it.
church. Yeah, you don't need to go to college for that.
Oh my
You
goodness.
know, the degree isn't going to get you your job. You know, your
It's just going to get you in debt. That's all that you
it'll
cannot pay
get you in
back.
debt. Your talent will get you the job.
Hmm.
Look at all these famous singers out there. Do you think any of them have a college degree in music? Any of them?
I bet some do.
The multimillionaire ones?
Probably.
Maybe the producers do. They got into the business because they probably didn't have the talent to sing.
Oh,
Some
man.
did, but I mean, you know, to learn maybe the craft and the business or whatever, but they probably got a job in business administration or a degree in business administration because it's a business. But do you think Simon Cowell got a degree in telling people that they suck?
He has no manners. He should have gone to like Miss Manners school or something like that.
Yeah, charm school.
Charm school, yeah. Now that would have been money well spent for him.
Yeah, I mean, you didn't need a degree to tell people that they're lousy at their act. Anybody could have told them that.
Just get any Latin or Asian mom on that judge, panel, and they'll, they'll just insult them.
Yeah.
Right? Ah.
So yeah, it's like there, like I said, there's some to where it's like you really don't need that one.
Mhm.
You know, you probably could have picked it up. I mean, maybe, you know, on a resume it looks good, but 9 times out of 10, whatever your goal you think it was is not going to end up being
Mhm.
there
Yeah.
in that targeting. There is a I met a young woman that she says, "Oh, I'm graduating this year from this university." I'm like, "Oh." And she goes, I said, "What you get?" She goes, "In art history because I've always wanted to be a curator in a museum." And I said, and of course she worked in a real estate office, and she goes, "Yeah, I just got my real estate license." And I said, "That's smart. You're more likely to sell a bunch of houses and make a ton of money than you are to find a museum that'll hire you
True.
somewhere in the world
True.
and pay you what a real estate would pay you."
Pay you a living wage, basically.
Yeah. I mean, and then they got to look perfect and all this stuff. So it's a fortune to look the part. And I doubt that they get paid a whole lot unless they, you know, got promoted along the way.
Yeah, it's like the newscasters. They have to dress really nice, but they don't get paid very much. They're on TV, and it's not like what we think.
No, you got to spend it on the makeup, the hair,
Hmm.
the suits, and
Yeah.
all of that. But yeah. And then be available all the time.
Yeah. Hmm. You have to go
So,
out in the wind, rain, snow, ice, sleet, everything.
and still look like $1 million.
Otherwise, you get criticized.
Mhm. Look at all these lawyers that end up being journalists
Hmm.
on TV.
Or politicians.
Or politicians, yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's never what you think it is, but at least it could lead to something, but it's got to be a reasonable degree
Yeah.
of something useful
True.
that you could also help you pivot to something else. Yeah, you got to think ahead, but you
Hmm.
know, that I understand if you need help paying off a student loan debt.
Hmm.
That's fine if you're building a future for yourself. But if you get something that's dumb. Sorry, no sympathy.
A
No
little bit
sympathy.
of dose of honesty here, right?
You should have gone to community college,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know, and done it that way, or just stayed in your state college and stop being a professional student
Hmm. Yeah, some people go to school for 7, 8, 9 years without a like solid degree in something.
full time
Yeah.
because a lot of them can't decide what they want to do.
Hmm.
They have so many interests that they can't focus on one, but they can't, but all of them are frivolous ones. So, but that's my take. I know it's a hot take.
Very honest, right?
That's an honest take, but you just got to be practical.
Hmm.
If you're
Yeah.
trying to be an adult here, you got to understand that you
Be able
need to
to support
work,
yourself. Yeah. Hmm.
support yourself, and move ahead. And if it's something that there's no job outlook out there,
Hmm.
they must have enough people to sign up throughout the country for
Or there's just no
those
demand on it at
programs.
all.
No, yet they still offer it
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
an offering.